wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Jess is on maternity leave, so Lauren LaRosa is filling in. And we got a special guest in the building. We have Michael Harry-O Harris, co-founder of Death Row Records. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, black man.
How you feeling?
I'm good.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
We got to start the story from the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Death Row Records.
You started as the co-founder for Death Row, right?
Yeah, we want to break that down.
Please.
Yeah, break that down. So who are all the co-founders? I mean, my mind is you, Suge, and I don't know who else.
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre.
Okay.
Yeah. So we originally we created a company called Godfather Entertainment, which was the parent company of Death Row Records.
Mm-hmm.
And Suge was, I believe, the president of Godfather, and Dr. Dre was the president of Death Row Records.
Mm-hmm.
And so we set it up like that because Godfather was going to do other entertainment assets like films and concerts, but Death Row took off, and then
Everything was Death Row.
Focus. Yeah.
How did you get into the entertainment world? We always hear the story that Suge was playing football and from the neighborhood, seeing what was going on with music, and decided he wanted to get into it. So how did y'all get into music? What made y'all say, I want to get into the music?
So how did I get into entertainment
Yes,
business?
sir.
Or how did we start doing
Both.
business? Okay. Actually, before I went away, I did 33 years. Before I went away, I used to be involved in club promotion. I used to do plays, national plays, and I got to do a Broadway play before I went away.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of those plays actually included Denzel Washington on Broadway. So when that aired on Broadway, I kind of took an exit. And so, but I was in the music business. I had limousine services. I was in the entertainment circle. So I met a lot of people from that. From my first business, I was 21 years old when I started.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a limousine service that allowed me to meet with different people in the sports fields, the entertainment world, political world. So I got to meet a lot of people at an early age. Yeah.
I want to go back to something you said. So you said Suge was Godfather,
Yes.
Dre was Death Row.
Let me back up.
Okay.
Suge was the CEO of Godfather, which
Okay.
is my company.
Okay.
And Suge was also the CEO of Death Row.
Got you.
And Dr. Dre was the president.
Got you.
Right.
And where'd you come in at?
I just was the solid. I was behind.
Yeah, they said you was the money man.
Well, it wasn't just the money, man. I helped structure it. But, in my situation, I wanted to play it back.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted to just have a phantom present because I just got a life sentence and I had got a 20-year sentence from the feds, and I didn't want that to become the focus.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be about the business that we had created.
Did they take care of you when you was away?
Well, I mean, you know how business is. I mean, everything was good. I mean, everything was organized. But as things got bigger, it got crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you come home to any money is what I'm asking, I guess?
Yeah, you want to know how much I got?
Yeah.
He does.
I
Yes,
do.
he does.
At one point, they made $300 million in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I came home to what I was supposed to come home to. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
How did you meet Suge, and how did you meet Dr. Dre?
Well, at the time that I met Suge, he was managing Dr. Dre and DOC. And they had just came out of a situation with NWA. And a friend of mine, Ron Brown, used to play football for the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Also was connected to Suge through the football world. And Ron and I grew up together, him and his cousin Eric. And so they introduced me to Suge because he was trying to make some things happen and he needed some backing. And they introduced me to him. I had my attorney, David Kenner, bring him in, and we sit down and talked about how we can make this a business.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, he was just managing, and he was working out of Solar Studios with Dick Griffey, and Dick Griffey was kind of mentoring him. But I don't think at the time, rest in peace, Dick Griffey, he didn't really understand what the emergence of hip-hop meant. And so he kind of fell asleep at the wheel. He was more focused. He come from the R&B world. He was our version of the West Coast Motown.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Charlamagne, Atlantic Star, Whispers, Babyface, everybody came through him. So he was advising Suge on how to manage and do things like that. But he wasn't really pushing for him financially to set up the company. And that's where I came in at.
What's
And you had life, but you did 33. And didn't Trump commute your sentence?
Yeah, he commuted the federal sentence.
The federal sentence.
The state sentence I did 23 on, and actually was found innocent of that case. But I did the time and was released through the board. They didn't have a mechanism in there for actual innocent, but they let me go after 23 years.
How did he even know about your situation? How did like who put him on to it?
Okay, well, first of all, you got to back it up so you can see the content, see this in full context.
Okay.
So when Obama was in office, I put in a request. I was transferred to the federal system in 2012, and so at the end of his term, I put in a request for relief, for clemency. Didn't hear nothing back, and when the second term, I put in another request, basically laying out all the work that I had done while I was incarcerated. You know, I helped create a lot of financial literacy courses, self-help classes while I was in the state prison. So the second time, my mother was dying, and so I put in a compassionate release. Didn't hear anything about it. So I had already created a record for requests. And so when Donald Trump, when the president was leaving, I put in a request to him. And Alice Johnson was working with him, and she got wind of my petition and read it and says, this man had done too much time based on the circumstances. And she took it to Ivanka Trump and Jared, and they took it and lobbied it to the president. And after 4 attempts, people kept trying to push it down. This is what I heard later. He just went through it and says, no, I got to let him go. This guy did too much time. He did the work. Don't make sense why he's in prison.
Alice Johnson is the woman that he also helped to get free too, with Kim Kardashian being involved, right?
Right. That was, I think, one of the first releases.
Is that is what he did for you? Is that the biggest part or the only reason why you decide to back him, or are there other reasons why you also decide to back him too?
Well,
Donald Trump.
No, look. Let me just keep it real. I appreciated what he did for me, 100%. I always got to be loyal to that. But at the same time, I'm really about my community. And so even though he had done that for me, I still did my research in terms of how I was going to approach community first. And community first needed to be approached with all options. So when I put out the challenge for the old plan and the community first, I put it out to both candidates. And then he tapped in. So in my due diligence, you have to look at the things that has been done before in terms of, so you can figure out what's real moving forward. So what he had done, because like I said, I don't just go by what somebody say, I go by what it is. I know that he had put in for permanent, it was a bipartisan bill for HBCU permanent funding. Mm-hmm. I know he did that for the community. I think it was authored by Cory Booker, Tim Scott, but he signed it into law. Also, I know that he did a sickle cell anemia initiative where he funded it, a bipartisan bill to make sure that we get to a cure for a disease that is mainly stricken on black people and some Hispanics. And also, HBCU.
The HBCU thing is true, but Biden and Harris, they did give a record $17 billion to historically black colleges and universities. So they did. I mean, I'm not. Trump did sign the HBCU bill into law before they get $250 million annually, but Biden Harris $17 billion. That's a record.
Right, that was afterwards.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so I don't think we have a disagreement here. I think what he did was he made it permanent. Before, people had to still, bid for it, go in and justify reasons to get the funding. And so he made it permanent. And so I believe the $17 billion initiatives you're talking about came not too long ago, where they actually enhanced something that had became permanent. So I think
I'm not sure of it. I don't know. I don't know how it all works.
Yeah, but it was bipartisan. So from both sides, it did the right thing.
Everything is always bipartisan, which is the conversation you can't do it without Democrats and Republicans.
Right, and I think that hopefully that's what this conversation will be about today. About we have to be on both sides of the aisles to get something done. If this team wins, then who's over there to represent us? if that team wins, who's over there representing us, and what are the policies? And so outside of that, she asked me a question about, was that the only reason? I think another reason that hit home for me was opportunity zones. That was also a bipartisan bill that was also signed into law by Donald Trump that I think generated over $500 billion, but as to date, $100 billion has been deployed. So it's about $400 billion left, and I think about 4,300 communities has benefited from those opportunity zones. And I don't know if you've covered that or not, but what it does is it allows wealthy people, private investors, to get tax incentives to invest in overlooked communities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got all these communities where people go in and you got cheaper housing, but you don't have no malls. You don't have no shopping centers. You don't have other type of businesses that help support those communities. And so one of the things I want to do with the O plan was double down on that opportunity zone so that we can rich people can stay rich and do what they do, but how can we utilize their monies to help elevate our communities without begging? You understand? Like this is a deal. I'm about business. Always been about business. How can we turn this into a business situation instead of just an emotional, you know, I go for this person, and chase down the facts. And then also one of the last things that I'm partial to is the First Step Act. Because it's not just about me getting out. It's thousands of people got out of prison that was over incarcerated and was able to be reunited with their families. And that was important to me, you know, to not be out here having a cool life back in business and forget about the people who still walking that track every day and may have got a weed case that got them 30 years or some drug cases that might have got them 30 or 40 or life sentence. And the First Step Act was also a bipartisan bill. So when I keep saying that, it's about who can we rely on to walk across the aisle and get something done. And so that's kind of like the reason why.
Gotcha. So it sounds like
and who's willing to do things for us.
Don't forget about that part.
Yeah.
Because look, I'm nobody. I'm just a guy. I'm not a politician, but I'm a guy who's been watching a lot of smoke and mirrors jump off and people talking down to each other, opposed to watching people every day have to deal with how they gonna pay their bills when things done doubled up and tripled up, and how they gonna make a living. You know, real people. I got family. Everybody ain't rich. You know what I mean? We all doing what we doing, and so and you know, I was blessed to be an opportunity to have connection to some that put me in a certain level. But why not use that platform to speak to the truth? You know what I mean? So I don't care if it's her, it's him, whoever's gonna represent us. We should represent them. And we need to get our hands dirty. We need to get involved. We need to.
I agree.
So I appreciate this.
So, you know, with so much going on in your life that people don't know, why did you feel like you had to jump in politics, or you had to spit what you know, the truth of politics? Why that? Because your story is amazing, and you're kind of like for most, the secret sauce in death row, right? What people might not know. You know, they don't know that you were behind. A lot of people don't know that you were behind death row and you were part of that situation. Why jump into politics?
Good question. But, you know, even when I first came home, you know, different people from my neighborhood has called on me, and I went to the community and I spent time with the kids. You know, I know that. Let me back up.
Mm-hmm.
For 30 years, people say 33 years. You say it quick, sound quick. Mm-hmm. But to do it, trust me, if you broke it down in seconds, minutes, and hours,
couldn't even imagine.
Astronomical. And you have a lot of time to think. And so a lot of people don't know that even when I first started death row, I was on death row for a period. Even though I wasn't sentenced to death row in San Quentin, I spent time there. And when I spent time there, I was able to be around some people that was actually younger than me. I went to prison when I was 26 years old. So you had people on death row and they were still killing people. And so I go to the yard, but I'm separated from them because I'm not a part of death row. I'm just on death row. And I'm talking to these guys that come from neighborhoods like mine. And these dudes is like 24 years old and 23 years old. So that's part of my psychic when it was time to create death row, that and a lot of people go back and forth about the name, who came up with the name. Like Suge was playing with DEF, like Death Row, and I said we're gonna call it Death Row Records because I just thought, as a cautionary tale, it was a great opportunity to tell young people that grew up where I come from that Death Row waiting for them. And I just don't think a lot of people understood that or know that. Like, just to sit here and hear people walking down the hall and never come back, and to see that as a youngster, it has an impact on you. You cannot not remember it.
They glorified now. It's so weird to me. Like, they be posting from Instagram, like they just having a ball in prison. Like,
yeah, but like any show, is reality and it's hype.
That's right.
Yeah, when they get off that mic, they gotta walk their track. They gotta eat that same meal. They gotta, some of them got tears in the pillow. They might not never tell you that. They buff that iron. They do what they do. But trust me, I ain't met nobody that ever loved being in prison.
That's right.
And so, but to your point, people come out. I've done X amount of times. They're supposed to feel like they're supposed to get a certain type of reputation. I think that's a false reputation of the pain that you go through when you're in prison.
That's right.
So what did you think about what you creating Death Row and the reason you created Death Row from what you've seen? And then some of the Death Row artists were, it was violent. You know what I mean? Snoop was on Death Row one time. He was, possibly convicted of murder.
He was tried.
Tried. I said tried. Yeah, I said
tried for murder.
Tried for murder. But a lot of the Death Row artists were so violent that could have put him in places where Death Row was. So did you ever think like that's not why this was created, or did you think this is just music? This is just.
Well, it goes back. It goes back to what Charlamagne just said. Like, you see a projection of some people wearing things from prison. I just think that Death Row got out of hand. Like, a part of the narrative in the beginning was telling street stories, right? Good, bad, or indifference, that's what it was about. But when you go out into the public and things start to happen, you get in commotion, and then you start getting hype behind it, you get news articles behind it, like the thing that happened in New Orleans. That changed Suge's mind, kind of like, it made him start feeling like, we need more of that. You understand? But to sell records. And I think he got caught up in that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just saying him, I'm just saying the whole culture, because from an economic standpoint, first of all, the East Coast created hip-hop. Let's put that out there, right? But from an economic standpoint, the machine let the West Coast win. And what I mean by that, we won and we lost. So what I mean by that is that because of the nature of the subject matter that we was talking about, we was able to do big business. So Eazy-E was an independent, but we was able to move into the majors because of our first album, The Chronic. However, the subject matter changed from what original hip-hop was about. Having parties, kicking it, talking about our king and queenness. And that wasn't getting supported by the machine. But when we start killing each other, talking about, so even though we was telling cautionary tales,
right,
people got confused about what's real and what's not. And I just watched it become pervasive. Even in prison, guys seeing their hood hollered out, it was a sense of pride. I mean, it kind of got a little off track from what it was originally supposed to be. And once you start making first year, we made $50 million. Actually, Interscope was about to close its doors. With its investment with Death Row, saved its company. So a lot of people don't talk about it in reverse. They always talk about Interscope made Death Row. They don't talk about what Death Row did to Interscope and what it did to Universal, and the fact that Warner Brothers almost went out of business because they got out of the hip-hop business, they got out of the Death Row business. I mean, it's a whole lot to be talked about.
No, you're right, because even if you think about Interscope, they might have got out of the business of Death Row, but they damn sure stayed in business with Dr. Dre and made sure Dre came over there and structured something. Aftermath, absolutely.
Aftermath.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's all connected. But where did it come from? It came from that thing in me and others. I didn't do Death Row by myself. To want to make an impression, like to not allow my incarceration to be the end of me. And so I invested, some of my money, but I could invest it in something else. So I invested in that organization to become a reality.
If you were home, you think it would have been ran the same way, or you think since you were inside and you seen so much, you would have tried to calm it down as much as possible?
Yeah, I just look, man. You You don't go through what I went through. You don't see people get stabbed and killed every day, and that's something you look forward to. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not just saying it. I'm just telling you. I don't know. Some days when I first came to prison, it wasn't about all those programs I'm telling you I helped create later. It was about, am I going to be alive tomorrow? You mean, because, you know, it's so much hate up in these penitentiaries. When you're up in them type of penitentiaries, you can cut it with a knife. That's how much hate you feel. And to be able to communicate and deal and then try to create a company with all that going on, it wasn't no easy walk. But, you know, I'm a man of God, bro, and that's what kept me alive and pushing and trying to stay relevant in a situation where they had me in a controlled environment. So, you know, yeah, I think it would have been different, but I don't live in the ifs. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, that was my intention, and you know how intentions go. But it became what it became, and now it's on a new trajectory. You know, it's under new management, if you will. You know what I mean? So, and there's an opportunity for a different death row history.
Are you part of the death row that Snoop has now? Are you part?
Yeah, we partners.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he the CEO and I'm the COO.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
that's
we, and we
dope.
also just created Death Row Pictures. So we finna try to do for Death Row Pictures what we did with Death Row Records in terms of imagery and trying to like deflect some of the stuff that we were known for.
The Tyrese movie was part of that, right?
Yeah, it was.
What's it called? 192?
1990.
1992. Yeah.
You still speak to Suge?
I ain't spoken to him in a while. Yeah, we kind of went our separate ways.
But 1992, and then y'all got I think y'all the Snoop biopic is coming.
Yeah, we got Snoop biopic. I'm doing my biopic. We've been talking with Denzel about producing it and Antoine Fuqua about directing it. And like I say again, here's another opportunity to tell a story, but keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? And more like a series probably because it's so much to cover. Yeah.
What's our community first? You got that's an initiative you got, right?
Sit on your hat, yeah, community first.
I see right there, community first. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have brought some.
What?
I don't know if you guys would award. You got too much going on here, y'all. I need to get one of them hats. Yeah, but Community First is an initiative that we created to speak to really to elevate the voices of the Black community during this voting cycle, but even beyond that. It's like about access. Like, how can we have access to capital? How can we have meaningful jobs and a second chance hiring when people come home? So we got the access agenda and we got the redemption agenda. So the access is about what we can do in the community in terms of, like I said, even I was talking earlier about opportunity zones and talking about better schools, like like in terms of school choice. What can we do to make sure that our schools and our community is top notch? And not controlled by unions where people just, if people are not effective, they still keep their job. Our children deserve more than that. And so I know what school did to me, in terms of me almost dropping out, in terms of not hearing the information I need to hear that speaks to my spirit. And I think a lot of people call us dropouts from a community but don't understand that there's a reason why things happen. If somebody's telling you information that's inconsistent with the truth that you know, and you're supposed to digest it, I'm not saying people should drop out. That's not what I'm saying. I said, but that's the reason a lot of people drop out, because they can't identify with the information that's been served to them. So we need better schools. Rather, people need to have opportunity to go to better schools in their community and outside the community. And we also need to have, Pell Grants that deal with vocationary training. Some people don't want to go to college. And so, and we know with this training, with these new training systems, programs in terms of technology, people can go there a couple years, 6 months, and make $500,000 a year. So these are the things that we're concerned with. And people that's in prison who is a captive audience need to have the skill set when they come home. They need to be trained. They need to be given programs. I mean, if you do a crime, you're doing your time, why shouldn't that be taken advantage of and giving people the opportunity to come home with skill set? Like when I was in San Quentin, we created a company organization called Last Mile that trained people how to code so that when they came home, they had meaningful employment and they're out there doing big things. And created all kind of organizations from that. So that's a model of what we could do. But I also believe Why should we wait till people go to prison? Let's help them before and help them when they get out.
I agree with that. They might keep them out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
That
They
part.
have worth. They feel the worth. They have it, but they got to feel it.
Yes. Yeah.
And what's the O-Plan challenge?
Well, the O-Plan challenge was basically laying out what this agenda is. That I was looking for somebody to commit to what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of people thought, okay, well, Trump pardoned him, so he's going to back Trump.
Ride for Trump, yeah.
Look, if it was just about that, I could have just did that day one. But when you involve the community, you have to make sure that the community have options. So that's why I made the challenge to Kamala as well as to Donald Trump. And still I haven't heard nothing from her camp, but I heard something from his camp. And like I'm not here to disrespect a black woman or elevate a white man, because I'm not a politician. My job is to give my community information so they can make the best choices. Because that's what I think destroys a lot of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's not having the wisdom or the information to make those decisions. You know, and when you ask me why would I get in this, when I sit in there for all those years and I could watch, you know, people think that when you're in prison you're dead, but you're just like a grave that's covered up, but you could, with a glass ceiling, you can see the world. And you're saying, why is this not happening? If I was out, what would I do? And I know a lot of people that's pretty wealthy that makes a lot of, you know, they can make a lot of things happen and don't because they get put in boxes. And I don't judge that, you know, I think it's too easy to judge, you know, but it's hard to think, you know, so I'm just saying instead of judging other people why they don't do, what can I do? So I use my platform, the opportunities I have to speak to my community. So we did some concerts in Pittsburgh, we did some concerts in Philadelphia, Atlanta, and we did some concerts in Detroit. And we spent time on the ground and talked to people. And I went to this one Paul Kids. It's an organization where this lady has in Atlanta, and Kathy, and she's the mother for children whose mothers are on drugs and fathers are in prison on drugs, and they come there to eat every day. And seeing these kids reminded me of me.
Mm.
And what can happen if people don't pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm about. Yeah. That's what I'm about. That's what I focus on. Not seeing people do a day like I did. And it's going to take people supporting their community to make that happen. That's what I'm on.
You know, it's so amazing. It's like you, based off your information and your experiences, you support who you support. Based off my information, my experiences, I support who I support. But that's not going to ever stop me from helping another black man help his community. Because that's what I'm ultimately on at the end of the day.
I love that, bro, because that's what I'm saying. We got enough division.
Right up.
You understand? Just like even on a small level, we was in Detroit, or Pontiac actually, but you know, outside of Detroit, and it came to my attention that Trick and Rick Ross had this issue, ongoing issue, and they both was on the bill. Hey, this is opportunity.
Oh, I forgot you made you made them have peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, look, they had it in them, bro, and it was easy, you know, because we brothers. Why not set an example? And they did. It was big, and people felt it. You know what I mean? So that's what Community First is about: merging communities, not dividing them.
Who'd you call first? Who'd you call?
Trick.
Jury's out on that. No, I was in that's a good point. It was Trick City.
Okay, because it's Trick.
And so one of the things I wanted to do is be respectful when we come up into different communities, and I just know how that is and how important that is. So it was Trick City. So we brought him on, and then I talked to Rick about coming on to the show, and he was cool. And then we had a talk, you know what I'm saying? He said, you know how you talk? That's easy, big dog. It was just that easy. He said, that's easy. And then for them to meet halfway coming up to the stairs and embrace before they came out to the stage was powerful. And so, you know, we had some firsts. Like, it was State Property was in our first concert, and they that was the first time in 20 years they had all collectively
Put on stage together.
Put on stage together, you know. And then we had in Atlanta we had T.I., 2 Chainz, and all those guys. And I think this is one of T.I.'s last concerts, and just to see all the homegrown talent on the stage together was powerful. So we want to keep doing stuff like that. We want to keep having. We want to do town halls. We want to talk to Republicans and Democrats together. We want to talk about real issues, and we want to talk to anybody that supports us.
Now, Harry, can you put Kendrick and Drake on stage together and let them hug it out?
I got another question for you.
That's our next mission. Huh?
That's the next mission. Are you on that one?
Yeah, I'm on it, man. Anytime we can kill it.
We don't need that one. We perfectly fine.
Let
that one go.
You all right with that?
Don't listen to him. I will
They don't like light skin brothers. That's the thing.
I don't know about love, but I would like to see it. Like if that could happen. I don't think do they really? Why not?
Why?
Because it's just something to watch.
I disagree with what he just said. You don't like light skin. I've been watching.
You don't like light skin brothers.
I've been watching y'all from behind the walls.
Behind the walls.
What they say about the inside? They think they people ask me, are they really gay?
I think they think they're gangsters. Yeah, that's what they are.
Him?
Yeah, it says, can't you see that gun on the town like that? No, but trust me, I'll be honest with you, you guys are light for people that's incarcerated. I think people don't realize what kind of effect people incarcerated have on the family members that really stay connected to them. Because really, people really want their brothers, sisters, mamas, and daddies and nephews to come home.
That's
Absolutely.
And so when you have a show like you guys have, and we're able to watch that in there, you know, Fed, state, whatever, they're gonna watch you, and they listen, they hang on to you guys every word. And so this is an honor to be on your show, and to be able to talk a little bit about Community First and about the old plan. And I really appreciate y'all, man. You don't know how much y'all affect people on a daily basis. Because what else you have in there besides reading? Of course, I did a lot of that. But to be able, when they listen to you, you bring them back into the world. Because you gotta understand, you are isolated. Outside of walking that track, you ain't going nowhere. And when you know that in your mind, you have to find something else. You have to find you know. And I found God, so God helped me walk through that. And then be about purpose, you know what I'm saying? I stayed present, you know, at every step of the way. So when I came home, I was ready to go. I had to get ready. I think when people don't do that, they have to come home and get ready. And then there it goes, backwards instead of forwards. You got to get ready when you had an opportunity to get ready. And I just want to go back to this voting thing. I just watched our vote become so powerful in the last few months. And I just think people should know that you can't keep voting for people that don't represent your best interests. And I'm not saying everybody you don't agree with everything everybody gonna do, because we're not gonna do that. But we have to push for something if we want something. If we continue to sit back and vote like it's like we're going to church and God gonna do something special for you, you gotta do something special for yourself. It's the same thing. When you're going out and putting people in a position to represent you, you gotta request something of them. So that at least you have a measuring stick that says, okay, I requested this from you. You said you was gonna do it. 3 years, 4 years go by, nothing happened. I don't want to see you no more. We need to be about the business. Just like you watch everything you put digest into your body, you need to watch who you got representing you.
That's right.
It could be the death of you. And that's what I'm on, you know. Like I just hope my voice is heard in a way, in the way that I'm sending it out. I hope it's received that way, genuinely. I don't have no reason to come out here and put on a show. My thing is about, if you heard something that changes your mind or open you up to something, then I'm done my job. I can't direct you into no direction. You just gotta see that this is about us making a deal to change the trajectory of our communities. That's what it is. And if nobody don't want to engage you, how you gonna make a deal? The fact that whatever you feel about Donald Trump was able to, with all this stuff going on, tap back in and says, hey man, if I get back in the office, I'm committed to working Community First to make sure that we help you do what you're trying to do with the old plan. I left it out there. He came back. It's still out there. So to answer your question.
I think it's all about relationships too, though, because I can say that about Vice President Kamala Harris.
Talk to me about that.
No, I'm saying I can say that. Like I got, one of my big initiatives is mental health advocacy. And I've seen her put $285 million into mental health programs that help increase the number of mental health professionals in our communities. I can talk about the American Rescue Plan, where she's put tens of millions of dollars into small black businesses, all through North Carolina, all through Louisiana. So I mean, I just think it's all about what you're tapped into and what your relationship is with that individual. Like you probably know more than most. I didn't know any of that what you said about Trump with the community first thing, but that's because that's been your relationship, that's been your experience. Just like my relationship, my experience has been with the VP, so that's who I support.
Yeah, outside of me meeting with President Trump, when I've thanked him for allowing me to reach back out into my family. First of all, I always give it to God first to let me out. But the fact that Trump did it, I thanked him for it. But I haven't really developed a relationship with him. But at the same time, you have, so you know more about her. I mean, I'm from California, so I know certain things about her as well. But not in the way that you do. Okay, let's put it like that. And so when you're in California State Prison, so I got a different lens,
different view.
Yeah, different view from how things happen or could have happened. But like I said, I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to talk about policies that help elevate the community.
That's all I mentioned was policy just now.
And I appreciate the dialogue and the way that we've been civil as we supposed to.
I think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world for people to be at odds with each other and like people be talking crazy to each other over politicians.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of the day, regardless of who wins, guess what? We still black, and our communities are gonna still be what they are, and we're gonna have to do what we got to do to better our community.
Better our community.
And that's about that's. And I think we don't have no arguments here, and that's beautiful. I wish the world saw it like that. I see people can't sit next to each other on planes and mention party, and the next thing you know, they got to separate them. It's like, is the plane going down? You know what I mean? Like, I'm serious. I done seen that, and it's like, it shouldn't be like that. Like, one thing God gave us is free will, choice, and we should be able to make that choice.
Absolutely.
And the best way to do that, I believe, is with information. And so, even though, like, he just broke down the information that he has, and I break down the information that I have. Well, once you have that information, you can make a determination, and no one should tell you or shame you because you made a determination separate from the way the other person feels. I think that's disrespectful to human beings, but I think it's more disrespectful to what God gave us. Don't take my choice away from me. Don't tell me if I don't vote for him or her or this race or that race that somehow I'm not who I am. And you haven't even walked in my steps to even be able to speak to me like that.
That's right.
So I'm just appreciative of the conversation.
Absolutely.
And the opportunity because people respect your platform.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Wait,
I would dislike you more if you were a Cowboys fan than anything else. Like him, like I just like he a Cowboy. I just the reason why. But how can people follow what you're doing in your community?
Before we wrap up. Something you said earlier, I've been trying to ask this, so we kind of moved away from it, so I'm going back to it.
Yes.
Envy, when he asked you about Suge, you said y'all went y'all separate ways. Is there any way that we'll ever see that reconciliation? Because it seems like there's definitely a lot of space and stuff in between now with the Death Row Records conversation. Will you guys ever get back to a good space? Is that over and done for you?
We got 2 minutes. I just say this. Look, the Suge Knight that the world knew is a different Suge Knight that I originally knew, right? And I just think that money and power does a lot of different things. And even when we went through, I had to sue him about my bread, and that's how he ended up losing Death Row. I tried to talk to him then. I'm saying, look, man, here's an opportunity for me and you to resolve what's supposed to be right. Because our children gonna see this one day and says, why you guys didn't work this out? I say, that's what we should be on. But I can't keep trying to find the good in somebody that don't want to find the good in themselves. And so him being behind these walls, I don't wish prison on my worst enemy. I know he's feeling and understanding things that he could not have understood when he was out here on these streets. So I pray that he get the wisdom that I got when I was behind the walls. And I worked on myself and I don't blame other people for anything I ever went through. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be out here talking about I'm about peace and about community first, and I'd be open. But people gotta stop living in the past and try to figure out how to move forward together. You know, I know even Dog had opened up a olive branch and things just, it didn't work out. You know what I mean? So, but we all stay hopeful and open because we all created something in the beginning that was, you know, entrepreneurs. It's powerful. It was a voice for so many, and it created a lot of other companies that other people was able to benefit from what we created back in 91, 92.
I got one other Death Row question. Do you remember the first time you heard Snoop? Did you know he was a star right away? And do you remember the first time hearing Tupac? Did you know he was a star right away? Did you know that was going to take it to the next level? What were your thoughts when the first time you heard him?
I watched Tupac grow before he became involved in Death Row. But Snoop Dogg, my ex-wife Lydia Harris, she was a part of the company. Even though I was around behind the walls, I used to communicate through the phone every day. And she told me that, because he had a little natural in, and she told me, she said, he the one, you know. And then, because Suge didn't think he was. He didn't think he was a star, you know, because, you know, DOC was supposed to be Snoop Dogg.
Correct.
Until he lost his voice.
Lost his voice, but he still gave what he had. Like, he taught Snoop Dogg things that changed Snoop Dogg as an artist.
He wrote a lot, too.
That's what I'm talking about. For not just Snoop Dogg, but for Dr. Dre, for NWA. You know, he was the voice, to be honest with you, out of Dallas. You know what I mean? Look at that dichotomy. But what I'm saying to you is that when I heard that voice, and even when we was inside the walls, because I got the music sent in, at first people was kind of like, didn't know what it was. But when him on that Murders, not Murders,
Deep Cover,
187 on Undercover Cop, the first time you heard that melodic voice, it changed West Coast music. It's beautiful.
Did DOC get what he was supposed to get for being the voice of Death Row?
Not just Death Row, NWA.
Well, my brother, he got a documentary coming out, and I think he's gonna get his flowers because, you know, and I don't want to dip the tea, but I'm gonna make sure he come on y'all show before he come out with it, because he's finna do something real revolutionary, and that, you know, that's gonna shock people. But, you know, the question of, no, I don't think Doc has got what he's supposed to get, because Doc was the heart of Death Row and NWA. And I just think that, and he's out there trying to do stuff in the community. Me and him is in real close contact. I love Doc, because he was there during them first days. It was him, Suge, and Dre that was supposed to start a business first. And somehow Doc got pushed out. Then I came in, and then I had my push and pull too. You know, it's been it's a family, but it's been a kind of crazy family. But, you know, I'm back.
And you was telling us the first time you heard Pac.
Liked him when I first heard him. Thought he was clever, smart. But when he came with the Death Row version, I just think him being away, him being frustrated, he came with another sound. You know, so when I first heard, you know, Dear Mama, not Dear Mama, but Brenda's Having a Baby.
I Get Around, all that. Yep.
He was already something special. I don't know, the jury's still out on how I feel about some of what happened, but in terms of him musically, he just went to a whole nother level, and it just was pouring out of him. Like, he went to the studio, you know, I wasn't there, but they would tell me and shit that he went to the studio and he couldn't be stopped. You know, and he was a perfectionist. He wanted to sound like he wanted it to sound. He wanted you to feel that projection that he was putting out. So yeah, it was a loss. You know, it was a mismanagement that cost one of our treasures' life. As it relate to him and Biggie, you know, may God bless their soul. They were both treasures to our community.
Absolutely. Well, how can people get in touch with you and see what you're doing with Community First and all that, and follow what you're doing, and maybe even help and support?
Man, that would be lovely, man. All the support we can get, we want. So it's Community First, action.org, or at Community First Action. And that's how you can get in contact with us, support us, and the official Harry O. is my handle. But
Okay.
I'm just out there, bro. I ain't hard to find.
That's right.
All right. Well, we appreciate you for joining us this morning.
Harry
Appreciate
O.
y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Michael Harry O. Harris, and it's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.